Hello and welcome to the F1 News Zone, the show where we round up all the biggest stories in Formula 1 right now. F1 is still in its off-season, but there's plenty of stories going on around away from the track that are setting us up very nicely for an amazing 2025 campaign. Today, we look at why Gerhard Berger believes that Sir Lewis Hamilton winning the F1 Championship for Ferrari would be the biggest deal in the history of the sport. The FIA has appointed a new deputy race director for Grand Prix this season, and did McLaren reveal their 2025 car at Silverstone earlier this week? We take a look at all that and a whole lot more in today's show. Let's dive in. Love him or loathe him, Sir Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari has definitely got the conversation going about whether this will be a successful move for the 7-time world champion, whether it will be a successful move for the most successful team in the history of Formula 1. We've had people like Nico Rosberg saying that Hamilton will succeed at Ferrari, but a lot of naysayers have come out of the woodwork, or at least people not offering the most positive opinions. Bernie Ecclestone, the former Supremo of Formula 1, has perhaps been the biggest critic of Hamilton's move. Surprise, surprise, Bernie just wants attention, and he got it. He got it with that. He succeeded in that. But some other people who are quite notable as well have not been saying too many positive things. Jean Todt, the former boss of Ferrari, he's been questioning whether they're a better team now with Hamilton or a better team before with Carlos Sainz. I say pretty handily that they are a better team now, personally. Greatest respect to Carlos Sainz, fantastic driver, but a world champion, I don't think he is. I don't think he's on that level, personally, and I think if he was, he'd still be at the team. And also the likes of Jackie Ickx as well has been questioning whether this is a kind of financial move for both Hamilton and Ferrari with the money this is going to generate. But anyway, Hamilton being comfortable as an F1 legend is something that a lot of people think, and another F1 legend as well is predicting that Hamilton will have success this season coming up with Ferrari, and the seasons to go, of course, too. He's signed on for at least 2 years. So let's have a look at what's been said, guys, who is backing Hamilton to succeed, and we'll see. I'll just read out this article here. So, full article on the F1Chronicle.com as always. Lewis Hamilton is settling into his Ferrari cockpit well, according to the authoritative Italian specialist newspaper La Gazzetta dello Sport. Amid rumours of discomfort with his initial pedal setup and a minor off in Barcelona driving an older Maranello-made single-seater. That is a mouthful. The latest tweaks reportedly made the 7-time world champion immediately feel more comfortable. Expert opinions are split about how the 40-year-old will fare this year, particularly as he struggled at Mercedes since the very beginning of the current ground effect regulations era. Some think both Ferrari and Hamilton are perhaps motivated primarily by money. If Hamilton can become world champion with Ferrari, it would be the biggest thing ever in Formula 1 from a marketing perspective. F1 legend and former Ferrari driver Gerhard Berger, he's been in the media, man. He's been sending out all kinds of stuff this week. Thank you for that, Gerhard Berger, as we like to call you in the F1 media. And he told Automotor und Sport this, of course. Nonetheless, Berger is expecting the red cars to shine this season. I would put my money on Ferrari this season, said the Austrian. I can't say whether it will be Hamilton or Leclerc, or whether it will be the Drivers' or the Constructors' World Championship, but they will win a title. I agree. I think they're definitely in the hunt for sure. That is my personal feeling. Ferrari was almost always fast last year with a few slip-ups. I trust Fred Vasseur to get rid of the vitality as well. It took him a while, but I think they are very close. The volatility, I should say. The inconsistency there. Of course, being famous for Ferrari when it comes to strategy, but there's a lot less these days for sure. Berger also does not agree with the likes of Flavio Briatore, Binotto, and others who think Ferrari made a mistake by signing Hamilton and therefore ousting Carlos Sainz. It was a good decision by Ferrari to sign him, he insists, and I think Hamilton needs the new motivation. He had been in the same team for so long that only a change of scenery would help. Agreed. For Hamilton, coming 5th is not a result that motivates him, but he will really grit his teeth at Ferrari and could well perform at his best again. On the other hand, I think he will struggle against Leclerc's speed. It will be a very close call. Berger also thinks Fred Vasseur is doing a good job in terms of the charge of the iconic Italian team. It was always clear that it would take a year or two for his work to pay off, he said. Now I have the feeling that it's starting to work. I also think it's great that he signed Hamilton. Vasseur will bring Ferrari back to the top. And of course, Vasseur does know Hamilton very well from his time in GP2, now Formula 2. So they go way back. They are day oneers, as it were. Pre-day one of Formula 1 as well for Hamilton. I mean, I've made my feelings on this clear, guys. I feel like it'll be a success. Whether he'll win a world championship or not, I don't know. But I am confidently predicting. I say this hesitating because I know a lot of people will disagree. I don't care. You know, I'm giving my opinion. You can give yours if you disagree. That's fine. That's what the comment section's for. Hey, that's what we do here. But my personal opinion is I think Hamilton will be a success. I think at an absolute minimum, he's going to win races and he's going to be in the contention for championships. That's just my opinion. I think he'll be in the contention for the championship this year, and if Ferrari provide a good car for 26 when the regulation changes come too, I think he'll be in the top charge for a championship too. Whether he'll win it or not is another matter. Charles Leclerc is an excellent driver. Max Verstappen has been absolutely dominating Formula 1 in recent years, and McLaren cannot be ignored either. And of course, Mercedes cannot be ignored for 2026 either too. So I think it's going to be a very exciting time as a Hamilton fan, a very exciting time as a fan of Ferrari. It already feels normal. I thought it'd take a long time to get used to Hamilton driving a Ferrari, but it just feels right. It just feels right. It just does. It just does. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think Hamilton will win a championship with Ferrari, get that fabled 8th title, surpass the great Michael Schumacher, who of course is arguably the greatest Ferrari driver of all time? Now that's a claim. They've had some very good ones over the year, but he's definitely up there in my opinion. I'd argue personally Juan Manuel Fangio is potentially better than what Schumacher was, but so subjective personally. You know, he's definitely in the GOAT debate, as is Hamilton for that matter, regardless of what happens at Ferrari. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below on this move, guys. Do you agree with it, or do you agree with the likes of Briatore and Eccleston? Those totally unquestionable moral figures in Formula 1. All I'm saying on that, guys. All I'm saying. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. So Formula 1 teams are like London buses. We wait so long for a new one, and then two could come along at once, because the FIA has said that it could permit a 12th team on the Formula 1 grid, making it the largest grid in Formula 1 history, going back all the way to 2012, when we of course had the likes of HRT and Caterham on the grid. So it's been a very long time since we've had 24 cars on the grid, and I want to see it. The more teams, the more drivers getting a chance in Formula 1, the better in my opinion. Of course, the Formula 1 teams themselves don't really agree on that, but they've let Cadillac in and they're joining next year, so there is hope for, isn't it, in the coming seasons to really see a bigger grid. And I want to see someone like Toyota or someone like that come in as a manufacturer one day, although I believe there's some ways off. They want to see how the things go with Haas, of course, too. But let's have a look at this article on the F1Chronicle.com, guys. Let's go over what's been said here. A 12th Formula 1 team could soon be following Cadillac's wheel tracks. After a long fight with F1 commercial rights holder Liberty Media and the existing 10 teams, Cadillac, originally Andretti Cadillac, was finally allowed to enter the sport for 2026. I didn't understand it, F1 legend Gerhard Berger told Automotor und Sport when asked about Liberty's opposition. Maybe there's something in the background that I don't know about. No, they just wanted to keep their money. They've got their pie, they didn't want to share it. Now they've been forced to share it, and we've already gone over why that is, of course. The good old US Justice Department investigating them may have had a hand in that, of course. What more could you want than an American team with an American driver and the power of Cadillac behind it? Yes, Cadillac takes a bit of money away from the other teams, but it also brings in new sponsors. A better solution should have been to find, rather than arguing for 2 years. And yeah, they're coming in now, even sooner than I thought they could have done. I thought it would have took them longer than 26, but here we are. Andretti Cadillac was always supported by the FIA, which was headed by controversial president Mohammed Ben Sulayem. The FIA may be a mess, but they do get some things right every now and again, and this was one of them. The FIA president is now hinting that F1 should max out the grid by adding a 12th team. We are very aware that I suffered a big attack because of the 11th team, Ben Sulayem said, but now we have an 11th team. Was it necessary to go through all that mess to have it? I don't think so, he added. There were clear regulations, and we even allowed to have 12 teams. Are we going to have a 12th? If the right team comes, the FIA will open the expression of interest. We are not afraid of anyone. We will do what is right for the FIA. I mean, guys, this is incredible. We've had 2 stories regarding the president, our Lord and Saviour, MBS, and 2 in a row where I am agreeing with the man. What's happened? Have I entered the scary zone or something? Have I gone into a parallel universe here? What kind of portal have I just gone through? But I agree with him. Look, as long as it's the right entry, we don't, at the end of the day, as much fun as it was having the likes of Minardi and 40, and there were backmarkers back in it when Jordan became a backmarker later on, of course, too. As much fun as it is having teams in the sport, I mean, even HRT, Caterham, and Marussia, of course, too, in more recent times. As much fun as it is having those guys, and it's also kind of sad because it's like you just can't compete. In a budget cap era, though, things are different. It's less expensive to compete at the top of Formula 1 because you're all on a relative even keel. Of course, the big boys will still have advantage. That's always going to happen because of their reputation. People will go there to work for less money because, you know, they're less of they are more of a name. You know, being a Ferrari mechanic is more of an honor than being a mechanic for, I don't know, Sauber, for example. You know, it just is. So they'll always have that bigger pull. But yeah, I want to see a 12 team. I'd love to see Toyota come in a few years' time and make it there. You know, the partnered with Haas, they're one of the technical partners there. I could definitely see them doing an engine one day for sure in the next engine cycle in 2030 when that does come. But we'll see what happens. I want to see more teams. I was always under the impression that Formula 1 had the ability to, in theory, go up to 26 cars starting a race. Now, that doesn't mean 26 cars actually entering a race weekend. Of course, back in the day, we had pre-qualifying when the grid was made up, well, when the Formula 1 paddock was made up of more than 13 teams in the early 90s. We had pre-qualifying, so you had to qualify to even qualify. You had to do pre-qualifying. So honestly, again, I'm not against it. The more teams, the merrier. But I never see it. I'll never see pre-qualifying coming back. There's no way an entity would enter Formula 1 with the potential for them not to start every race. So I feel like that would never happen personally. But I see no reason why we can't have 12, 13 teams personally. The facilities is one, of course. That's a stretch in places like Monaco and the smaller circuits. But hey, they can do it. They've got enough money to do it. It's Formula 1 at the end of the day. And maybe just have a smaller grid for Monaco. They used to do that back in the day, I think, as well. I think they used to have 20 cars starting Monaco compared to 26 in some seasons. Going way, way back, though. But that could be a memory kind of misleading me there. But yeah, who do you want to see as a 12 team in Formula 1? For me, Toyota, without a doubt. Toyota and Honda going head-to-head in Formula 1 again. I want to see that, man. I want to see that. Your thoughts in the comments below, as always, and we'll see you soon for some more content on the world of Formula 1 just like this. So Formula 1 has definitely made strides when it comes to getting more women into the sport. There's been a real push for this in recent times because, frankly, back in the day, Formula 1 was pretty much a boys' club. There were very few women in the paddock at all. If you go back 20 or maybe even 10 years, to be honest, it's very much increased in recent times. In fact, this year we have the first ever female race engineer in the sport who will, of course, be overseeing Esteban Ocon at Haas, which is fantastic. I think Laura Mueller has her name. And obviously, we've got some news when it comes to the F1 race director. There's apparently going to be more than one race director for the entire season, so that role, I assume, would be rotated depending on the race and the availabilities of said race directors. There could be 2, there could be 3, there could be 4. We don't know. The FIA president has only said that there will be more than one, which I'm not totally against. I do understand the pros and cons, and I've already done a video going over that story, of course, as well. So do check that out if you've not already here on the F1Chronicle.com. But there's a bit of a strange press release that's been coming out from the FIA saying that the deputy race director is about merit, not gender. I never thought for a second it was, but what was about gender, I should say. Let's have a look at what's been said here, guys. Very much a strange one here. Full article on the F1Chronicle.com. FIA President Mohammed Ben Sulayem has denied that the new permanent deputy F1 race director was selected because of her gender. That is despite the fact that the sport's governing body often talks about the need for greater diversity. Indeed, at the recent FIA official summit in Madrid, the federation boasted about an equal gender split among the latest 12 trainee stewards and race directors. And it now emerges that while Rui Marquez is staying on board as the new full-time F1 race director, he'll be joined by a permanent deputy, Dutchwoman Claire Doubleman. Right, so there's not more than one race director being rotated around. There is a deputy there. Okay, that's a new one. That's a new one. That wasn't very clear when this first got broke. The Telegraph newspaper reports that Doubleman has actually had a prominent role in race control since 2023. You cannot simply throw someone into this great challenge, FIA President Ben Sulayem told mainly Spanish media just 24 hours prior to the emergence of Doubleman's news. It's very important, he added. What would happen if the race director got sick? It's the same as the FIA. If something happens to me tomorrow, the FIA will continue to function without me. dare I say it would probably function better, but let's not bash this guy too much. I've done plenty of videos going over that. MBS also bristled at the idea that the FIA would appoint someone like Doubleman, 39, to a prominent role in Formula 1 because she is a woman. We talk about diversity, he admitted, but when they say you brought someone from this country or you brought this person because she is a woman, that's an insult. We don't have women because we have to have 30%. We have women because on their merit and credibility, because they are good, because they are trained and they have the passion. Not because, oh, I have to have this colour, this religion. Then you won't have a good FIA, a strong FIA. The FIA president is quoted as saying by Marcus Sports newspaper. Right, well, I don't know much about Doubleman. I've never heard of her personally. But at the end of the day, if she is qualified for this position, she's had a prominent role in race control for a few years now. I see no problem with this whatsoever. You know, if she's had a prominent role and she's been overlooked for the position, then people could probably argue that she's been overlooked because she's a woman. And then maybe they'd have a point because this girl is clearly experienced in the role, or at least something similar to it anyway. It's a new role that's been created. And he's right, there should be a succession. There should be a backup plan there, because the plan before, when Vettel got sacked / resigned, depending who you ask, obviously. When he went, Drew Marquez was just thrust into the position, and he was like F2 and F3 race controller before that. So I think there should be somebody there, someone to be, I mean, I don't know what kind of roles and responsibilities she would have as the deputy other than taking over if something happened to Marquez. But, you know, that first year, I guess she's just going to be there and learn, just get up to speed with everything, because, actually being there in the heat of the moment and experiencing that firsthand, like she will do, that's invaluable. And, she may become F1 race director within a few years, and I see no problem with that. For once, guys, I am actually agreeing with MBS. What kind of parallel universe is this? But I agree with him. I see no problem with this. Gender is irrelevant in this. If she's good enough, she's good enough. That's as simple as that. So I don't see the problem. I'm sure there'll be some people, the gammons as I call them, out there raging on the internet like, oh, but she's gotten chosen because she's a woman. Oh, F1 was better in my day when it was all men. Yeah, sure, mate. Cool. Nice one. But yeah, like I said, if she's qualified enough, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Marquez is qualified enough. He's been experienced in a lot of races before, and she's kind of an outside role in that by the sounds of things, and now she's going to be more on the inside, so I don't see any problem with this. Plus, it's a lot of things as well. It's a lot of things to actually consider when it comes to being the race director. It's a lot of high pressure stuff, and things could be happening more than one thing could be happening at one time, more than one crash outside on the track. It doesn't hurt to have an extra pair of eyes there too to help make decisions, so I'm all for it. But guys, what do you think? Has she been promoted because she's a woman? Is the FIA right to promote her? I don't see any problems with this. Your thoughts in the comments below as always, guys, and we'll see you soon for some more F1 news and opinion pieces just like this here on the F1Chronicle.com. So, rumours of a Sebastian Vettel comeback have been absolutely rife for a number of years now. Ever since he left the sport a couple of years ago, there's been rumours about him coming back to Mercedes, maybe coming back with Red Bull, Audi, Aston Martin, you name it, he's been linked to them at some point. After all, Vettel is younger than the likes of Sir Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso, who are of course competing still arguably at the top level of Formula 1 in the form of, well, Ferrari for Lewis Hamilton now, and of course Aston Martin for Fernando Alonso. Of course, he's hoping they'll be a top team. They're not quite there yet, of course, and they won't be there for a couple of years. But apparently, Red Bull, Audi, and Aston Martin have all rejected Sebastian Vettel coming back to the sport. This is a big revelation, so let's have a look at the F1Chronicle.com here, guys, and see what the full story is. Dr. Helmut Marko has revealed that he issued a clear no to Sebastian Vettel's desire to return to Formula 1 in 2025 with Red Bull. Amid the swirling rumours about Sergio Perez's uncertain future last year, advisor Marko admits the team's former quadruple world champion Vettel picked up the phone. That is despite the fact that, as recently as mere days ago, the 37-year-old German insisted that he is perfectly happy in retirement. I have really enjoyed the last few years, including the time with the children, Vettel told RTL. Hopefully the children have too. Maybe the mood will change again, but at the moment things are still going very well. Auto Bild insists, however, that Vettel is not completely finished with Formula 1 quite yet. He says to his confidants that he is still feeling fit enough, journalist Ralph Back claims. he will continue to look for a comeback opportunity. Bach added that despite the official story, Vettel actually did not voluntarily retire. Aston Martin did not want to extend his contract and others did not want to give him a new one, he said. According to the same report, after Vettel retired, he offered his services to Audi's new Formula One project, but Sauber and Audi turned him down. As for Marco, he freely admits that Vettel wanted to be Max's teammate for 2025. Sebastian would have liked to drive alongside Max for us, he said, but that wouldn't have made sense, also to protect him. Max would clearly have beaten him and damaged Sebastian's reputation. I couldn't and didn't want to let that happen. David Coulthard, who retired from Formula One in 2008 at the age of 37, driving for Red Bull, urged Vettel to embrace his post-racing life. He should give it up and stop dreaming that he will be faster after taking a few years off, he's quoted saying by Speed Week. He wasn't quite at his best at the end of Aston Martin. The stopwatch doesn't lie, Coulthard added. Well, of course, Aston Martin, I think he did an alright job, to be honest, but his teammate was Lance Stroll, so it's very hard to judge how fast he was. I think the biggest thing that really hurt his pride, to be honest, was being resoundingly beaten by Charles Leclerc at Ferrari and also by Daniel Ricciardo at Red Bull in 2014, lest we forget about that. I mean, it would have been interesting to see Seb come back, but I have to agree with Marco. I feel like that Verstappen probably would have beaten him, to be honest. Not because Vettel's not a good driver, of course. I mean, there's still some people that doubt his talents. He was an extremely talented driver in Formula One. You don't become a 4-time world champion if you're not an extremely talented driver. And that is, of course, a reference to Max Verstappen himself, because he's got a few naysayers as well, of course, somehow. I don't know how, but yeah, somehow there's some people out there that thinks he's overrated. I know, unbelievable stuff, guys. What can you say? But at the end of the day, it would have been a bit of reputational damage. I mean, yeah, he should just embrace his post-racing life, really. You know, he's still around the paddock. He was there in Brazil, wasn't he, doing some sort of environmental thing or something like that. So he's still around F1 every now and again. He's spending time with the kids. Like I've said on many occasions, who wouldn't want to retire in the mid-30s and just chill out with the family? I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that. And most people watching this would probably want to do that as well, of course. So yeah, it's interesting that Audi would have rejected him. I think that would have been a pretty cool move, but they obviously value someone who has been in the sport more recently, and his wages will come into it as well. I mean, you know, Nico Hülkenberg would not have demanded as much money as what Seb Vettel would have done. Simple as that. And that's not me having a dig at Vettel. That's just a fact of life. The guy's a 4-time world champion. He'd only want to come back if it was a deal that made financial sense for him as well. So there we go, guys. Apparently 3 Formula One teams turned him down. Apparently he was pretty much forced out of Aston Martin. Again, I can believe that because they wanted to sign Fernando Alonso. I can definitely see that 100%. But yeah, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Should Vettel come back to F1? Is it right that he hasn't come back to F1? I want to hear your thoughts as always. So McLaren did a reveal of sorts for their new car the other day at Silverstone. They did a private test at the track and there were some new pictures that were put out of the car in a testing livery and a car that looks a little different as well. So I'm just going to react to that for you guys here on the F1Chronicle.com. Unfortunately, I don't have an article for this, and unfortunately as well, I don't have any images of said car either, unfortunately, because of copyright rules and intellectual property regulations. I can't show you any images of the car on screen, otherwise this video would unfortunately get took down. So please do understand that. If you want to go and check the images out, please, obviously I implore you do that, but I'm just going to go over what's been said here. I do have some text to read out for you guys, but like I said, no article because of good old copyright law. I know it is what it is, guys. I can't tread foul on that at the end of the day. I have to at least abide by that. You know what the rules are like on here for a reason. At the end of the day, they have rights to their intellectual property and they can keep it if they want. That is their prerogative. McLaren has revealed to the world some significant modifications to its title-winning Formula One car for the all-new season. For the last year of the current regulations, each team will undoubtedly base their 2025 car on the previous version in 2024. In McLaren's case, it powered them to the 2024 Constructors' World Championship, but McLaren is not resting on those laurels. The Woking-based team on Thursday showed the world photos of its heavily camouflaged orange and black 2025 car circulating at Silverstone for a filming day shakedown. The orange and black pattern made it difficult to find new aero tricks, observers from Automotor und Sport journalist Tobias Gruner said in a recent article. But a closer look showed that the airbox is now flatter and more oval in shape, he added. Gruner noted that the nose is also a bit slimmer and that the side mirror mounts are altered. We have to remain realistic, McLaren CEO Zak Brown said. Every team will come out with the winter break from an improved position. In the pages of Italy's La Gazzetta dello Sport, technical correspondent Paul Filsetti remarked that although the 2025 McLaren resembles its predecessor, there have been profound refinements of the project at both the dynamic and aerodynamic level. He also noticed changes to the front and rear suspensions with lower attachment points than before, striking differences with a less rounded bodywork profile. So while McLaren won the 2024 Constructors' Championship, Lando Norris is now keen to beat quadruple consecutive world champion Max Verstappen to the driver's crown in 2025. I need to get my elbows out and show I'm not going to willingly give him any positions, the British driver told reporters. But I also have to be a smart driver. You have to be smart to go up against Max. So yeah, relatively short one there, guys. Like I said, I do apologise for no images or anything like that. It is what it is. You know, they've got their rights to it. Like I said, it is out on the social media channels, but we can't put any out on these videos. It's just the rules at the end of the day. But yeah, if you've seen it, what do you think about it? For me, I mean, yeah, it's a slight iteration on what happened last year. There are some noticeable differences, like they said. They've got like weird camo, that glamouflage, because it's all can't have camouflage and it have bright orange on it. It's it's going to stand out a bit. But yeah, I mean, all the cars are going to look pretty similar to last year. There's not going to be a massive amount of change, in my opinion. You might see Alpine or Aston Martin doing that, but the top teams are relatively going to have the same car as last year, with some little differences here and there. But yeah, your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Do you think McLaren will retain their Constructors' crown? Do you think Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri will win the Drivers' crown in 2025? I want to hear what you have to say about that. See you soon for some more F1 content here on the F1Chronicle.com. Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend. See you soon.